Hello students, good morning to all. So today we will continue our discussion on lesson 2, Internet Services. So in the last class we have studied about the e-learning and e-banking. Now today we will study about e-governance. So e-governance stands for electronic governance. So it helps the integration of the internet and communication technology in the government process. So it also helps the government to provide the services, online services, public welfare programs uh, to all the people with the help of the internet, means through online. Now, with the help of this e-governance, the people can interact with the government and they can get the delivery of the services and the people can exchange the information with the government. And this process of accessing the information and exchanging the information with the government strengthens the democracy. So the interaction between the various entities of the system is required to implement these services. The interaction between the government to citizens and government to businessmen, government to government, all that interactions increase the transparency in the governance of the government. Likewise, government to business interactions have resulted the services like the payment of commercial taxes, applying for the incorporation. If you wants to apply, if you wants to open a company, you have to register for the incorporation of it, apply for the patents, apply for the trademarks, for all this. So many government interactions, government to government interaction means the exchange of services with the government organization to another government organization or between two or more government departments. So, some major e-governance services in India. What are the major e-governance services? Unique Identification Authority of India. This UIDAI is used for the enrollment of the Aadhaar. If you want to enroll, if you want to make the Aadhaar card, so you have to visit this website UIDAI, and here you can check the and Aadhaar enrollment centers. You can check the status of your Aadhaar card. You can download your Aadhaar card. You can update your Aadhaar card. Next, government service is the Consulate Passport Visa Division, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. For that, you have to visit www.passportindia.gov.in. With the help of this website, you can download and the print e-form, electronic forms for applying for the passport and visa. You can check your application status of the passport and visa. You can book the appointments. You can also voice your grievances, means your problems on the website, and track the grievance status as well also about your complaint. Your voice grievances means when you speak, your complaint will be registered on their website with the help of the software. Income Tax Department portal. So you can file income tax and TDS returns. You can apply for the PAN and TAN cards. You can check the application status. You can access the information regarding tax policies and rules using the above given site. Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government India. So the corporates can file for incorporation, submit commercial tax, online submit fees, view public documents, and etc. All these the services are offered by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. E-court services means the online judicial services you can access online judicial services of the Supreme Court, High Court, and the district courts. You can check the status, you can check the court orders, you can check the case rulings. Okay. Similarly, many are there, etc. Now the Digital India movement. Digital India is the initiative launched by the government of India on 1st July 2015 by the Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi. The vision of the Digital India is to bring India at par with the developed nation, means to make India a developed country. At par is equal to the developed nations. Many developed nations are there like Japan, America. In the field of technology, so what are the services provided by the Digital India? The major services provided by the Digital India is the Umang. Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance. It is a free mobile application launched by the government of India. So, so there are some advantages of the governance is also that the expanded reach of government. So with the enhanced availability of the internet services, the reach of the government to the people is increased more and more. Second, increased convenience. With the increased popularity and the accessibility of the online government portal, services like applying for passport, license and documentation related to the property have become convenient to access. Third, high transparency. So, with the increase of the e-governance services, it has increased the transparency in the internal government process. Now, the citizens can quickly get the information about the services for which they have applied. And this reduces the gap between the people and the government, citizens and the government. Reduced corruption. Now, the barrage of the bureaucratic hurdles and inadequate mechanism of the complaint handling can lead to the corruptions. Whereas means many times the government officials holds the files at their places. Now they cannot hold it. Now a certain time period is given to clear the files. So e-governance make all bureaucratic process transparent and clear, which helps to de-escalate the problem of the corruption. Direct participation of the constituent. Now people can report various problems on the government portals and the different government bodies present on the portal can collaborate with the people to provide a solution to those problems. Reductions in the overall cost. So the administrative cost is not reduced with the help of the e-governance. Now less number of officials is needed, less number of infrastructure is required. Disadvantages of the e-governance. So some disadvantages are also there. Non-availability of the internet services in the rural areas, so people cannot access the government portals. They find the difficulty. Second thing, despite providing the high level of security, still there is a chances of government portals to be attacked or to be hacked, or so that the public information can be stealed from the government website. Next is the lack of awareness among people because many rural peoples are not knowing about all the e-governance services available on the internet. So by since they are not knowing, so they are not accessing it also. So no knowledge or little knowledge of the services kept people away from using these services. Next is advantage, many services provided to the citizens are still not part of the e-governance. Means all the public services is not made online. Next is the e-group. E-group is the virtual meeting place for the individuals who share the common interests. So some advantages of the e-groups are also there. E-group is a platform for the people who share the common information on topics of their own interest, messages and photo albums. So these electronic groups can share our views using member polls. Also, we plan group event calendars. So in the electronic groups, a discussion or message board where members can initiate the discussions on the topic of their choices, and the other members can view or reply the post. So starting the discussion, one member has to post a message on the discussion board. Now after that, the other members by reading, they will give the reply. The discussion will be initiated. So in the electronic group offers a specific amount of space to its member for uploading and downloading files. What are the advantages of the e-groups? E-groups are accessible anytime and anywhere as long as there is an internet connection. E-group discussions are stored for a long time and can be revisited whenever required. E-groups encourage generally shy people to share their views. Those who do not able to speak in front of the public gatherings. So this is a good platform where they can share their views, and these views are read and commented by many persons. E-groups provide valuable real-life experiences and up-to-date information on new places. E-group allows the members to form an active and supportive community without having a face-to-face meeting. So for the e-groups, there are no boundaries to where the discussion can be prolonged. Disadvantages of the e-groups are also there. The participants of the e-group communicate through text-based messages only. They cannot communicate with audio and video messages. Discussion in the e-group is not live. A large number of people are involved in the e-group, so their different opinions may take the discussions to a different direction. Now, in e-group, a message or a post is combined with all its replies to form a thread. So, due to many messages in the thread, sometimes it is difficult to find the relevant information. So, finding the relevant information in the e-group is difficult task. Social networking now. So social networking site is an online platform that focus on the facilitating the building of the social networks or social relations among the people who share the same interest, who wants to share their activities, backgrounds, or real life connections. So in a social networking website, every user has to create a profile which contains the information about them. So what is the profile? A profile which we prepare in which we provide our personal information, and we create a list of users to whom you want to share the connection and allow the users to organize their social networks. Here the users can join the communities in the sites and they can share the photos, messages and videos and hold the discussions and collect views and opinions on anything. What are the advantages of the social networking site? Easy to connect. First, the main advantage of the social media is that easy to connect with the friends, families, classmates and customers and clients today. Second advantage, create new connections. With social networking, you can seek out groups that focus towards the special interests and hobbies, and you can connect with those groups. Third, free business promotion. So this gives a platform for the companies and artists for promotion a large number of people using social media sites. This helps them to promote and market themselves and for their products on a large platform. Helps in criminal cases also. Social networking services are increasingly being used in the investigation of the criminal cases because it provides evidence in the form of photographs, status updates, and people's location at a particular time, and the conversation is also used between the persons involved is also used as the evidence. Now spreads information incredibly fast. Social networking sites provide a medium through which news and other important information spread like a virus. So disadvantages is also there of the social networking. So what are the disadvantages? Cyberbullying means the increased use of communication technology is also lead to a new form of harassment which is known as the cyberbullying. In cyberbullying, young kids or peoples publicly harass another by sending or posting the abusive text or messages or abusive emails or pictures. Second disadvantages is the less real life interaction. With the increase in the social networking communities, people prefer to meet their friends and relations on the social networking websites only. So there is a lack of personal interaction between the peoples. Third is the addiction. Now the biggest problem of the social networking is that addiction. That people are more addicted to its use, which results in the wastage of their valuable time. Nowadays, many people are spending around 10 hours or 8 hours on the social networking websites. Misuse of the information. Social networking sites do not provide enough security on the personal data of a user, and even after enabling the privacy settings, the information visible to a lot of unknown people. So now the strangers with bad intentions clearly can misuse your personal information. Fake profiles. Next, social networking sites have a massive number of users with the fake identity. Their identity is wrong. Next, ethics in social networking. Right perspective. A user should, the ethics means what a good behavior you have to follow while using the social networking websites. So, right perspective. A user should consider enough while uploading any post that your post, a picture or video is right or not. Do not make a false statement. Utilitarian perspective, that it is useful for the others or not. A user should recognize and respond carefully to the activities that are forbidden by the law. Any activity which is forbidden by the law, and you are posting it, you are uploading it on the social website. So you have to face some problem. Okay, so the do not encourage any illegal activity such as violence, hacking, drug addiction, etc. Fairness perspective. Users should refrain themselves from inappropriate posts or comments. Don't post any inappropriate comment that support the discrimination between the peoples that should treat every other user equally. So you push such comments that treat the others equally. It should not discriminate between the poor and rich, between white and blacks. Virtue perspective. One should not indulge in anything that works against the welfare of the society. So don't do such anything which is against the society. Next, the mobile technology. So mobile technology has grown leaps and bounds over the past few decades, and social media and mobile technology have given people new ways to share their feelings, expressions, and remaining in touch. So, mobile technology is a technology which is mainly used for communication in mobile devices. Mobile technology evolved from simple pager to a handheld computer in just a couple of decades only, means around 20 years. The immense popularity of mobile technology is due to its affordability and the range of services it provides, like voice calling, sending text messages, GPS navigation, sending emails, running various applications. Now we have some dependent, now we become so dependent on the mobile technology that today we feel handicapped without it. Some popular mobile technology, the SMS short messaging services that is also called the texting. It is a very quick and convenient way to send the short messages on the mobile devices. There is a limitation of 160 characters per message you can send. If your message is longer than 160 characters, it should be broken into the multiple segments of 160 characters and sent in the same order as it is written. MMS Multimedia Messaging Services is the update messaging services. So in this MMS, you can send the picture, audio, and video files along with the messages and send to another mobile device. So MMS messages do not have a standard limit. Most carriers can reliably carry up to 300 KB multimedia data. Next is the 3G technology of the mobile. 3G technology is called the third generation mobile technology. 3G is the third generation of the wireless mobile technology, and so this third generation mobile is a set of the standards for the wireless communication system that promises to deliver the quality multimedia services along with high quality voice transmission. Now the first 3G network was introduced in 1998. 3G is the upgrade version of 2G and 2.5G networks with faster internet speed. Each generation brought a new frequency band and higher data transmission rate. So when there is an upgrade in the technology, this means there is the upgrade in the bandwidth frequency band and the high data transmission rate. This made the streaming of the audio and video file possible without any interruption. It provides a data transfer rate up to 2 Mbps. In 3G technology, you can download the file with a speed of 2 Mbps. Now 3G system features what are the features of the 3G? 3G systems comply with the International Mobile Telecommunication specification by the International Telecommunication. The first 3G services available in 1998, which we discussed, it provides high-speed transmission, having data transfer rate of more than 0.2 Mbps and less than 2 Mbps. Global roaming services are available for both voice and data. It offers advanced multimedia access like playing music, viewing videos, television services. It provides access to all the advanced internet services. It paved the way to the increased use of the smartphones. So what are the specifications for the 3G? Third generation partnership project, the specification based on the global system of mobile GSM communication and are known as Universal Mobile Telecommunication System or UMTS. So they are using the technology GSM and UMTS. The technology includes it in the Universal Terrestrial Radio Access UTRA, General Packet Radio Services GPRS. So since this is not in the syllabus, only for your information this time telling. Where this area 3Gs are used, wireless voice telephony, fixed wireless internet access, mobile internet access, video call, mobile TV technology, video on demand, video conferencing, telemedicine, GPS, all these uses 3G technology. Now next is the 4G. 4G refers to the fourth generation of the wireless communication, which is the successor of 2G and 3G family standards. It is an IP based packet switching integrated system with a high-speed data transfer rate of 100 Mbps to 1 Gbps. So the minimum data speed you're getting in the 4G is 100 Mbps and the maximum 1 Gbps. Nowadays 4G technology is widely used with other communication technology like the broadcast and satellite communication. So the capability provided adhere to IMT advanced specification as laid down by the International Telecommunication Union. See the features it provides on all IP packets in network for the transmission of voices. It aims to provide high quality uninterrupted services to any location. As laid down in IMT advanced specification, 4G networks would have a peak data rate of 100 Mbps for highly mobile stations like train, car, etc. and 1 Gbps for low mobility stations like residence, etc. It also lays down the 4G network should make it possible for 1 Gbps downlink over less than 67 MHz bandwidth. See the 4G comes in two categories, LTE long-term evolution, this is called the LTE and worldwide interoperability for microwave access WiMAX. 4G uses two technology LTE and WiMAX. So LTE long-term evolution is an extension of the 3G technology. It is a standard for high-speed mobile communication based on GSM, H and UMTS. Now, worldwide interoperability Microsoft Microwave Access is a mobile wireless broadband access standard and is sometimes branded 4G. It offers speed data rates of 128 Mbps for downlink and 56 Mbps for uplink. Where this 4G use advanced mobile web access, IP telephony, high resolution, high speed gaming services, stream multimedia data, high definition mobile TV, video conferencing, 3D television. Next is the 5G. 5G technology refers to the fifth generation wireless technology which was started in the late 2010. In various parts of the world, carriers have launched the 5G technology, but in many countries it is yet begin functioning. So in many countries it's not started. So it is a complete wireless communication technology with almost no limitation and is highly supportable to wireless World Wide Web. So wireless World Wide Web. The 5G technology provides large broadcasting of data with high speeds in Gbps. 5G has more effective and more attractive features than the previous generation. So the features of the 5G, the features and its usability are much beyond the expectation of a normal human being. With its ultra high speed, this potential is enough to change the meaning of a cell phone. So the features of C, it is 100 times more devices, virtually zero latency, speed up to 10 gigabits, wide range of application, more software option to upgrade, very high capacity, faster response time. Okay, so now we have completed lesson 2. So this is all for the today students. In the next class we will start new lesson 3, HTML. And thank you for your kind attention.